It's so damaging to have your own parent enjoy being cruel to you. And I mean, I just remember the smile on my mom's face when she would do something that made me cry. Like, it's the worst feeling. Hello, and welcome to How to Be a Terrible Daughter, the podcast where we hate your parents for you because they absolutely deserve it. We're going to joke about our horrible childhoods, talk about how we survived them, and share some of the tools we've learned along the way. So, who are we? My name is Megan, and I am an energy healer, a medical intuitive, and an occupational therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. I am a psychotherapist and an artist.
And we are cousins. Oh my God, we almost said it at the same time.
I don't think it's ever going to happen because of the Zoom lag. So
yeah, we're literally on the opposite side of the world. We're using software to record. Well, obviously we're using software to record, but we're not in the same room is my point.
Yeah.
And so we're never going to get that. But maybe at some point when you come visit, we'll record together and we could actually do it. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. That would be really cool.
Oh, yeah. So today we're going to talk about a topic that we've been meaning to do this episode for a long time. And we've also gotten requests for talking about this too. And so we're going to talk about the different types of narcissism, or the different flavors of narcissism, as we like to call it, because I think the usual way people think of narcissists as sort of this like self-centered, aggrandizing, sort of is only one type. It's also the most obvious type, so it's a little easier to spot. But there's all these other subtypes that don't present quite so openly. And so they're a little harder to spot. It takes you a little longer to catch on that maybe that's what's going on with someone. But they are just as damaging to have as a parent or to be in a relationship with of any kind. And so we wanted to talk about them just so that people have a different, ideas of the different types, and also so that you can maybe spot it out in the wild. Also, when we were planning this episode, one of the things that came through is that people can have aspects of multiple different types of narcissism, right? Mm. So, a lot of times there's sort of one that's more maybe dominant than the other ones, but they can absolutely have aspects of all of them. We were going through the list and I was like, oh, that's my mom. Oh yeah, that's my mom too. Oh wait, my mom did that. Oh no. She had like almost, characteristics of almost everything on the list. So yeah, yay for me. I win. The nurse.
So your mom was really.
I have all the numbers and the bonus number.
Yeah, bingo. Bingo.
So yeah, we wanted to talk about the different types to sort of help you spot the narcissists in your life, spot narcissists in the wild. And also, as usual, just let you know that you're not the crazy one, that this behavior is crazy and that there is a clinical name for it, which I think a lot of times is really helpful to hear.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, my therapist said to me once, she's like, you're never going to be able to like walk through the world never meeting another narcissist, And so, yeah, I mean, they're not that they're like everywhere, but that you will come across these people. You don't have to keep them in your life, but yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to Absolutely. Yeah. Which is why healing from this is complicated because, my nervous system is afraid of people doing very specific, horrible things. I can't honestly say to my nervous system, that was just when you were a child, that will never happen again. Because it could, because there are people like that out there,
Yeah.
So it's tricky. For me, I have to sort of be like, this could happen again, but I'm an adult now and I have more agency and I have more tools. And while it will still suck if this happens, I'm a different person at a different time, So anyway, all right, Let's get into the different flavors of narcissism. Do you want to start us out with sort of the textbook one that everyone thinks of as a narcissist?
Sure. The vanilla or chocolate probably
Yeah, exactly.
the most common, the most easily spotted. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if you listen to the podcast, this is the one that you're probably pretty sure about. So this is the overt narcissist or the grandiose narcissist. And this is the one that we've mostly been talking about, which is arrogant, entitled, attention-seeking, selfish, charming, lacking empathy, will not admit that they have done anything wrong or that they have any vulnerabilities whatsoever. Very like puffed up. What else? A lot of politicians are like this.
Yeah.
And like surgeons and doctors, they love having, powerful jobs and stuff like that make them feel important.
And they love having people around them who have to defer to them because of their position of power, right? So if you're a surgeon, you are the person in that operating room really holding life or death in your hands, right? And you have all these other people in the operating room who are assisting you, right? Or a politician, right? You have the power of like legislation or whatever, right? And so people, they put themselves in a position where other people have to surround them and sort of provide them with that adulation or butt kissing or, whatever you want to call it, because they don't have that for themselves. They have to find that supply outside of themselves, right?
Their sense of self is like pasteboard, like a theater set or a movie set, right?
Yep.
And it all has to look good on the outside.
Yep. And charming but lacking empathy, this is sort of again, a lot of these types of narcissism do this, but this is, they meet you and you're their best friend immediately and they, shower all this attention on you. But as soon as you need something, and, you're constantly taking care of their needs, right? And, doing things for them. But as soon as you need something, especially something that's not convenient for them or that they don't think is important, they have no empathy. And I don't mean they don't have empathy like they can see the position you're in and they don't care. Like they literally can't understand why you would need this. Like it doesn't compute for them,
Right. What do you mean you didn't come to my dinner party because you were in the ER?
Right.
I wanted you there.
Right.
You hurt me.
Right. You could have discharged yourself and gotten in a cab and come, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of the, again, when you spot someone in the wild and you immediately clock, oh, that's a narcissist. And also, a lot of times in movies and TV, this is the type of narcissist that's portrayed as this grandiose, overt narcissist, where it's just very obvious that this person is a selfish piece of shit, essentially, right? The next one we want to talk about, I think this one's pretty common too. It's much harder to spot though. They can go under the radar for a long time before you realize what's going on. And this is the covert or the vulnerable type of narcissist. These people are hypersensitive, insecure, very easily slighted. They're constantly the person that's talking about, oh, so-and-so did this horrible thing to me. Or can you believe that this happened to me? I tried to return this to the store and they said no because it was already used. What? Right? Everything is an affront to them. They're very prone to victimhood. You'll notice this person because every story they tell is some horrible thing that happened to them. Right? Or some horrible thing that some person did to them. It's just, you meet them at first, you're like, wow, this person's having a hard time in life right now. And then 2 years later, when they're still having a hard time with everything, you're like, maybe there's something else going on here.
Right. When all of the other people in their lives have cycled through and there's a whole new bunch of people who are also somehow taking advantage of them and being mean. Yeah. And I just don't understand why they're behaving this way. And I'm having such a hard time. It's one of those things where it's you get a call from them and you're like, you're my last friend. It's
right.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I remember meeting someone and they were telling me they just had such a hard time because they'd had this one job and the company had folded and then they got another job, but it didn't work out. And I was like, wow, this person's going through a really hard time. And then 6 jobs later in the course of 6 months, I was like, I think I know what the common denominator is here. They tend to be very passive aggressive. So God, that poem that I read at the end of our last episode was a master class in like passive aggressive guilt trip, right? And so they are absolute masters at the passive aggressive guilt trip. And all of this is masking their grandiosity. I mean, really, if you think about it another way, they still think that everything revolves around them, right? It's just that instead of everything revolving around them because they're this amazing person who can do no wrong, everything revolves around them because everything's always going wrong for them. But it's still a way for them to direct the attention towards themselves because they're just constantly looking for pity. They're constantly looking for compassion and understanding, and they will bleed you dry. They are absolutely emotional vampires. Like it is, it's exhausting to be around any kind of narcissist, but being around a vulnerable, covert narcissist, I mean, you just walk out of there like a shell of the human being that you used to be like afterwards. It's
Stop calling me out, Megan.
It's funny. No, I was talking to my therapist yesterday and we were talking about like basically how to spot people more quickly, right? And who are narcissists. And I said that, one of the metrics that I've really realized is true for me is when I spend time with someone, do they bring me higher than my baseline that I am on my own? Like, do I feel better with them, more energized, more happy, more, excited? Or do I feel depleted from my baseline? Right. And so, that's a really good way to spot, like, is this person essentially draining me, emotionally draining me? Or are they someone that's healthy and very secure in themselves so that being around them feels additive,
Yeah.
So.
And if you aren't good at that yet, because I'm definitely learning, it's also like, well, did you give them some really good advice and they didn't tell you no at the time, but that somehow they never take your advice and they continue to have the same problem, maybe with a different person or whatever, but they don't actually learn how to handle their situations, right? They don't learn from their previous struggles and do different things. They may say it's different, but it's like really
it's not really. And that's a good point. I would say that's also true about covert narcissists is you can give them like really good advice, right? You can say like, what if you do it this way? I mean, even if you're like an expert in something and you're like, oh, this is my field. Like, I would love to help you with this. And there's always an excuse. It's always like, oh, that won't work for me because, on Tuesdays I have to wear red. So like I can't wear blue or whatever, there's always some reason why they can't actually undertake the thing that will solve their problem because they don't actually want to solve the problem. The problem is how they're connecting to people. They only know how to be in relationship with people by getting pity or I'm trying to think of another word. It's not compassion they're looking for. It's like, it's being seen, but being seen through the lens of somebody, trying to rescue them or helping them. But they don't actually want the help or rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's displaying inadequacy. It's take care of me, let me be a part of the group or whatever. And that's essentially the tactic, which is I need help, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that was vulnerable or covert narcissism. So those are the two really like the main types is the overt grandiose narcissism and the covert vulnerable. And then the rest of them are going to go over are sort of like little subtypes. I would say usually if somebody has these other things, they also have a lot of characteristics of either the overt or the covert.
Yeah.
But the next one we want to talk about is a malignant narcissist. This is sort of the most severe form of narcissism. Like if you want to talk about someone being, I don't know, like a murderer or something, right? Like doing something or like a really horrible con man who like swindles elderly people out of all of their money or something, right? Like this would be a malignant narcissist. So malignant narcissists actually blends aspects of narcissism, psychopathy, and sadism and paranoia, which is called the dark triad, right? Like it's aspects of all three of these, I don't know, like really fucked up, horrible personality disorders.
Yeah. Dangerous.
Dangerous. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like these are the people who will be violent. These are the people who will get violent towards someone and either not care or, explain why they deserved it. right?
Yeah, the sadism, right? Like they actually enjoy humiliating people or seeing people humiliated and punished. Paranoia, like they absolutely believe not just that they're the victim, like the vulnerable, but that people are actually out to get them.
Mm.
And you know what I mean? Like, and this should start actually sounding familiar to you, right?
Wait, to me personally, are you calling me out now?
Not you, not you.
No,
but I think that if you're listening to this and you're an English speaking person, this is probably starting to like, you can, you know.
Oh, you are speaking more in terms of a national type of thing.
Yes,
is that
a
what
larger
you're saying?
society.
Yes. Okay, yes. I see what you're going at. Sorry, I'm a little slow.
That's okay. And part of the psychopathy is also that like the rules don't apply to them,
Mm-hmm.
and they will work the system just for their benefit.
Because they think that they're special enough that the system shouldn't apply to them.
Yes, exactly.
They think that so that's the sort of grandiose overt part is I'm amazing. I deserve all these things. These rules for the pedants don't apply to me. And then also just, I mean, when you talk about lack of empathy, you know, really not caring whether people live or die because they think that they either deserve it or that those people did something wrong. And so they shouldn't have access to the good things that they have access to. And yeah, that cruelty is definitely that intentional cruelty, I think is kind of a hallmark. You know, you can have a grandiose narcissist, again, like you said, maybe a surgeon, right, who's completely full of themselves, but they're not going to be intentionally cruel towards their patients or the staff. They might be incredibly self-centered, right? So I think the cruelty and the paranoia are sort of a hallmark of this malignant type of narcissism.
Although I would say that there may be a few surgeons who are malignant narcissists who basically pretend to be grandiose. They know enough to do that. But I think cutting into people and, you know, the whole life and death thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't have a merely grandiose surgeon, but it's like, oh, wait, actually, no, like they're cutting into people.
Yeah. I mean, that sort of is getting into like Dexter territory, but absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's malignant narcissism. And if your parent was a malignant narcissist, I'm so sorry. It's really horrible. I mean, I think I can speak for my mom, and I think your mom too, both had aspects of this. And it's so damaging. It's so damaging to have your own parent enjoy being cruel to you. And I mean, I just remember the smile on my mom's face when she would do something that made me cry. Like it is the fucking worst feeling. It's the worst feeling.
Yeah. This is also a place where the assigned gender makes a really big difference because men are much more open about their aggression and their rage and their lack of caring. And so just so you know, it tends to be for women, it tends to look a little bit different.
Do you think that malignant narcissists who are women tend to save that cruelty for their home, for the people at home?
Yeah, absolutely. Because systemically, they tend not to have the power. I mean, you have to really get to a place where you have a lot of power and you have a lot of, you know, money and, you know, respect and all that stuff. And, you know, women in our society are still, I mean, like they just.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's really like they will find the people that are the most vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They will find the people that they can have power over. Yeah. Like their own children. Yeah. Okay. Happy times. Wow. This is a really uplifting episode. I mean, unlike
all of our other.
like, you know, Jesus. Woo. I might need to stop and have a cocktail in the middle of this episode.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about like, oh, yeah, that's what my mom did or that. It's just like, oh, yeah. Okay. Now I see it. You know, so yeah, that's happening literally in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're here and we won. And survival is winning.
It is. Yeah,
And
that's absolutely
we're not
true.
abusing other people.
We're not abusing. If you have grown up in a family with one of these types of narcissists or anyone with a personality disorder, and you are a functional adult, and by functional, I don't mean successful. Please don't or whatever society's version of success is, right?
Yeah.
I just mean if you are whole and, able to have friendships and able to, hold down a job, that is a huge, huge deal because of where you came from. So, I mean, ironically, I feel like children of narcissists, we hold the bar for ourselves so much higher than it should be or than other people do. When honestly, after what we overcame, we should constantly be proud of ourselves every day if we're just functioning and existing, and having friends.
If we have made the choice not to be like our abusers, that's it. You don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the world or anything.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. All right. The next type of narcissism we're going to talk about was absolutely your mom. My mom really didn't have much of this at all, but your mom added spades.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's what made it harder for me to break things off, because I saw that as her being good. So this is what's called the communal narcissist.
Yeah.
And this is the person who is constantly not necessarily doing favors for people, but are doing big things to help and celebrate. But they always make sure that people know about it, right? So they're the ones that bring 3 casseroles to the memorial or
pay their neighbor's child's tuition for the school they need to go to, or
or donate the largest amount, or make sure that you give the best birthday present for a kid, or
are constantly volunteering for the community. It's all these things that look selfless from the outside, and they're the type of person that if someone doesn't know them very well and you mention their name, somebody would be like, oh, they would give you the shirt off their back. They are just the most amazing, selfless person, which, then if you're their child, is a complete mindfuck, because that's not who you see at home,
Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like cruelty at home, but it's like I have a friend whose father was, I think, a scoutmaster. I can't remember, or maybe not a big brother, but he was a scoutmaster, and he was a scoutmaster for 30, 40 years, and has a whole troop of young men who he's basically a father to, and he has tremendous amount of success and whatever, but his own kids never pays attention to them. Never did, because no one was going to see it. Right? Yeah. No one was going to see it.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to get anything out of it.
Yeah.
That's
fucked up.
It's really fucked up. The same, I know someone whose mom was super, super big in their church, involved in every group, took part in everything, donated stuff, but was taking money from my friend because they were saying that they didn't have enough money for groceries. So my friend found out that my friend was funding their house, the keeping of their house, and then found out that her mom was donating to the church, very obviously. So, yeah.
Wow. So it's I don't have any money for groceries, but I do have money to spend in a way that other people say to me, you're amazing. What a generous person.
Yes. While my friend was working her way through college.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. She was working her way through college and paying living,
supporting her mom.
For her mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they look from the outside like they are these incredibly generous people who donate money, donate their time, are constantly helping out whenever anyone's in need. But the reason they're doing it is only to get that feedback from people that they're, oh my God, you're such an amazing person. What an angel walking on earth, right? that's their narcissistic supply, right? All of these different types have a different flavor of narcissistic supply that they're looking for, but it is always attention. It is always the attention focused back on them in some way or another so that they can be the star of the film, either by being a victim, by being the best at something, by being the most selfless, the most helpful. It's always so that they can get this feedback from other people about how amazing they are.
If you hear from people, you must be so proud of your parent, or you must, or you should be really proud of them. I know I heard that a lot, that it's like, oh, this person's probably a communal narcissist.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that there's like overlap between the communal and the covert for sure. Okay. The next subtype is, we have two more, by the way, for those of you listening. If you need to pause, you're like, how long is this going to go on?
How many more do we have?
I know, right? So the next one is the self-righteous or the entitled narcissist. Again, this overlaps a lot sometimes with grandiose, but this person is moralistic, judgmental, rigid. So they believe that their views on the way that the world should be or how people should be are it, right? And anyone else who argues with them is just wrong, right? They're often very, very focused on work or achievement. And they believe that, oh God, it's that thing of like, you were born on third base and you hit a home run. They believe that this came from their own hard work, and they can't see a lot of times how it's not like, that it's not their effort, right? That they just happen to be like born into this position, right? So they believe that they got here because of their hard work. And so therefore anyone else, if they put in an equal amount of hard work, should be able to get where they are, right? Again, it's just this very self-righteous, entitled stuff.
And not exclusively, but this is the type that really gravitates towards high control religion. So you'll see a lot of like, whatever, God knows what's right. There's only one right way.
Yeah.
The judgment of God and, all of that stuff. Like that's
absolutely. They're like,
very
if you just
comfortable with.
Yeah. If you just work hard enough, you'll get into heaven, right? Like that whole thing, right?
You work to please God, or that, you're a sinner and you have to work hard to overcome your terrible nature. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. As soon as the self-righteous narcissist decides that you have somehow transgressed or trespassed against the rules, and the rules can be a moving target, you're out, right? All of a sudden you're a sinner, or you're no longer worthy, or whatever. So it's this very narrow path you have to walk with them.
Or if you surpass them, right? So in a community where they are in charge and like they're the star, if you do something that garners too much attention or too much praise, then you are seen as a threat, and they will find a way to undercut you. Yeah. Because it's not actually about even their criteria for what a good person is. It's that they get the attention.
Yeah.
Right. So even
and that they get to be the model of what's perfect. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So be as good as you can be, but not too good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Which is such a double-edged sword, because it's like, be the absolute best. Don't ever make a mistake, but don't be better than me, because then I'll cut you down, Yeah. So again, it's just this very narrow tightrope that you have to walk. Okay. The last type, what we're going to talk about, is the neglectful narcissist. And I think this is a part of a lot of the other types of narcissism we've talked about. But, if you're listening at home, this will sound familiar. So they view others as objects, and they ignore other people's needs until they can serve the narcissist's needs, essentially. Yeah. So like, you don't exist until you're useful to them.
Can I just say that my throat is closing up?
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking about how when I was a teenager, so dinner at night, my dad would come home and then my parents would argue for hours until my stomach had stopped hurting with hunger and I got headaches. And then we would go out to dinner. My mother stopped cooking after my brother left for school. So it would be like an hour later that I would eat. So yeah, that's
Yep. Yeah.
disordered eating.
Yep.
Not have anything to do with me.
Oh, God. Both of our moms had horrible disordered eating, like in different ways, but Jesus.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, we should talk about that. All right. Another episode. I remember my mom, like, literally forgetting that I was home, or sometimes she'd forget me at stores. Like, we'd be out and she'd just forget and like go to the car and like drive off, and like she'd forget to pick me up at school all the time. All the time. I was there, like the last one there with all the teachers. And sometimes she'd do it even when she was the one driving carpool. So she wouldn't even just forget me. She'd forget me and all the other children who she was supposed to drive home. And yeah, I mean, literally just if you are not useful, if they are not thinking of you, you don't exist.
Yeah.
You don't exist.
Yeah.
So.
And I know for me, how that translates is that it's very hard for me to do things that don't help anybody else. So like I spent years not getting haircuts because in my mind, I mean, who cared? You know, there was no way that I was improving anyone else's life by doing it. And I had been taught so deeply that my needs didn't matter, that I just couldn't get things done, you know? So.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I've never thought about that type of thing that way, but yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, that putting yourself not just second, but like, you know, why does it even matter if yeah. Ooh, that's deep. Okay, now my throat is closing up.
Sorry. Okay. Orange cabinets, green leaves, red mural, painting. Shake that off.
Yep. I am now scratching my dog who is sitting right next to me. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about something equally as horrible. God, this podcast is just like one gut punch after another. Let's do our crazy mom off, where we tell stories about crazy shit our moms, or we've now incorporated other people's moms, did, and see who sounds craziest. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm happy to go first. It's a simple one, but it's, I don't know, it's got some depth. So I have a friend whose mom would buy clothes for their kids, and like specifically
would buy clothes for their kids, like buy clothes for the grandkids, or buy clothes for them, you mean?
No. So the mom would buy clothes as presents for the mom's adult children.
Oh, okay.
So my friend and their brother.
Okay.
And several times, explicitly, the brother would be like, I don't like beige. I like colors, jewel tones, whatever. I like paisley. I like florals. I do not like plaid.
Mm-hmm.
And she would keep buying him these beige things, these plaid things. And it seems like it's like not a big deal, right? And it's like, oh, you know, maybe they didn't remember or whatever. But my friend did actually talk to their mother about it and just be like, I heard that he told you, don't you remember? And the mom was like, yeah, I just thought I would influence him.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's like, yeah, really?
God forbid someone have their own taste or their own likes or dislikes about things.
Yeah, it's like if I just keep pushing them, you know, and it's like, it's one of those things that it is so insidious, but it's actually on purpose. So like if you get a gift that's like, this is not what I want, what I care about, but I just got a gift, so maybe I should just say it's nice. They're actually, sometimes they're doing it on purpose. They want to see you disappointed. They want to see you confused.
Yeah.
they want to keep pushing their opinion about what you should want onto you.
Yeah. Well, and you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you open the gift and you've explicitly told them this isn't what I like, if you open the gift and you say something like, I don't like this isn't what I like, then you look like an ungrateful person. It's a setup, right?
Yes.
But if you open the gift and you say, oh, thank you, then you're self-abandoning, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're screwed either way. Like, it doesn't matter, right? And that's, narcissists love putting people in impossible positions. We used that metaphor early on in the podcast about a narcissist will break your legs and then demand that you run a marathon so that they can tell all their friends how amazing you are and then bitch at you when you're in pain afterwards, right? So that is absolutely breaking your legs and then making you run a marathon, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not an accident. It's on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Ugh. And, it also is sort of what we've talked about before, too, which is this kind of abuse is like death by 10,000 paper cuts, right? It's not usually some huge thing that happens. It's these being put constantly, daily in these positions where you either have to abandon yourself or you disappoint them, quote unquote. I'm doing finger quotes, or there's just, you are constantly be put in these no-win situations over and over and over and over again until it completely eats away at your emotional regulation skills, at your sense of self, at your sense of reality, right? Like, yeah. So yes, it just looks like a beige plaid shirt, but it's really emotional weaponization. It really is what it is.
Yeah. And even if it's like the slow leak of your life force that you don't really pay attention to, over time, it's a tremendous amount of your life. And all of that is optional.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Okay. My story, I don't think I told this story. Maybe I did. If I did, you get a part 2. So I had been no contact with my mom for several years. And, no contact takes a while. Like, sometimes you're like, hey, I need a break. And then you go back to talking with them. And then you decide you're going to go no contact. But then you decide, well, maybe I'll try again, right? So it took me a long time to fully go no contact with her. I was really never speaking to her again. So I'd been no contact with her for a couple years. I was visiting LA where she lived and we grew up. And she was just like, can we please go to lunch? Like, I just want to see you. And, I just want to take you out to lunch and hear how you are and what's going on in your life and whatever. And, in a moment of, I don't know what, weakness or hope or something, I was like, okay, how bad could a lunch be? I'll go to lunch. So I tell her I go to lunch with her. She's like, great, I'll send you the name of the place. Okay, fine. So she sends me a message the day before or that morning of where we're going. And it's a restaurant that is easily $100 to $200 per person, like a super fancy restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Immediately I'm like, oh God, she knows that I can't afford this because I was in my 20s at the time. I can't afford that. And so she knows that she's going to have to pick up the bill, which puts me in a very similar position to that plaid shirt where, like, what do? I'm supposed to say thank you, right? Because she's taking me out to this fancy restaurant, but I don't even want to go there, right? Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to be indebted to her. I don't want to have this transactional, like, I didn't want a transactional lunch. I just, you know what I mean? Suddenly now I'm in this position where I'm going to owe her, right? But on the other hand, if I speak up and say, hey, that place doesn't sound good to me, then I sound ungrateful. She's like, but I want to take you out for a nice lunch. I haven't seen you in years, right?
Right.
So I'm fucked. I'm in this position where I'm screwed. So I decide to just go and I'm just going to eat a tiny amount of food. I ate some food beforehand so that I wasn't hungry, so that I can, at the end of the meal, say, I'll pay for my portion, right? If it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
So I show up at the restaurant and the maitre d' is like, oh yes, your party is already here. I'll take you to the table. I get led to the table, and it's my mom and two of her friends who I've never met before. Sitting at the table.
She needs an audience.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I get seated, and immediately the friends are like, we've heard so much about you, Megan. We're so excited to meet you because your mom just can't stop talking about what an amazing person you are and blah, 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 blah. People I've never met before in my life. And who are, of course, my mom's closest friends, quote unquote, who she's just met in the last couple years because I don't know who they are, right? So this incredibly uncomfortable lunch, I'm now thinking, well, I'm even more screwed when it comes to the check because this isn't the type of restaurant where each person pays for their own thing, right? Like this is the type where somebody's going to cover the check. And I'm guessing that's going to be my mom because she's the one who invited us all here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I should also say, meanwhile, my mom had been telling everyone, including both of your parents, up, down, and sideways about how she didn't have any money because my dad screwed her over, which was absolutely not true. She was living in the house that they'd bought together. He was paying her more money in alimony a month than I have ever made in my professional career. She was fine. She was doing just fine.
She didn't have a job. She'd
never worked and she'd never had a job. So that's a whole other thing. So she'd been crying poor and then she wants to go out to this fancy restaurant. Anyway, so I'm sitting there at this lunch thinking like, how am I going to get out of this? Right? Because, this is just, not only just the check, but this situation where I have these two people who are, and my mom used to tell stories to other people about me that like the stories were grandiose. So it would be like, if I were attending X university, the story she would tell is I was attending X university and I was magna cum laude, which like wasn't true, right? So there was always this embellishment too. So these friends would be like, we heard that you, I don't even know, whatever, like started your own nonprofit to like feed children in Africa. And I'd be like, no, I volunteered one day last year to help get signatures for a petition or something, right? Like it was always this exaggeration of whatever. So yeah, I don't remember really how I got through the lunch. I dissociated quite a bit. I do remember I tried to pay for my appetizer and, I got water appetizer alone and like, oh, no, we can't we can't do that. But I just remember afterwards being like, wow, that was such a performance for other people. And such a performance for me of like, I love you so much. I'm going to take you to this fancy restaurant. Right.
Right.
And it just solidified my decision of like, nope, this is not a healthy person to have in my life because that lunch had absolutely nothing to do with her stated intention, which was like to catch up with me, to see what's going on in my life. I don't even think I said anything about myself or what was going on in my life because I was being peppered with questions by her two, sycophants. So anyway.
And I just think about the sheer amount of emotional energy that she sucked out of you.
Yeah.
And I think about how, people who don't have parents like these are like, when you're feeling down, like, just call your mom. And it's like, you don't understand. You know what I mean? Like,
that's going to make it so much worse. So much worse. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's talk quickly about some tools that we used to get through this week. I think you said you had one in mind. Yeah. Do you want to go?
Yeah. I realized that I had to set a really firm boundary this week. And it was a boundary that also required that this person who was behaving in a way that was inappropriate actually take action. And so what I did is, this is important, so I took some time and I wrote out the things that I cared about and, the goals. And then I sort of created a plan, right? Okay, so this needs to happen and then this and then this and then this and then this. And then what I did is that I went through and I figured out all the loopholes, right? So I know that this person, when I say this, they're going to try and do that. And so I'm cutting off that option. I'm closing the loophole. So they can't behave passive aggressively or anything like that. I also made sure to take things out where they didn't have choices, right? I may have done like, well, you can choose A or B, but both A and B end up with the same option. Does that make sense? Like a cosmetic choice, but not a fundamental choice.
Like you can go about it this way or that way, but this is happening essentially.
Yes. You can choose an orange or a banana, but this is what's going to eat a piece of fruit. Yeah. There's going to be a piece of fruit in your lunch. Yeah. And if you don't eat it, that's fine, but you're going to get it and that's it. And you're going to get it and there's no discussion about it. And then, so I closed all the loopholes. And then what I did, and this was really important, which is I created a consequence for inaction. So it's like, what is it? This needs to get done by Monday. If you don't get it done by Monday, then I will not give you this, or I am taking over the decision and I will decide. I will decide on Monday if you don't tell me before.
You get a banana if you don't tell me which one you want. Yeah.
Yeah, I will choose the banana. You'll get a banana on Monday if you just decide not to talk to me or choose or whatever. So everything continues to go independent of this person because it's always easier to do nothing than to do something. And so when you have to like set an elaborate boundary with consequences and stuff like that, that's really important. The other thing that I did was that I made sure I talk to people that I care about and whose opinion that I trust. And I sort of ask them, what do you think about this? Is this reasonable? Are there any loopholes I'm not seeing? Right? And made sure that it was completely crafted. And so I would actually not make any changes. And then I gave it to this person. So there was going to be no debate, no discussion, no loopholes. And if you don't do any of these things, then something that you really don't want is going to happen. So it took a lot of skill, but I'm really glad that I did it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Good for you. Yeah. How'd they react?
Intimidated. And I talked to my therapist about it and I said, if you have to be intimidated and a little scared of me in order to respect my boundaries, then I'll be intimidating.
Yeah. Be a villain, right? Like,
I mean, it's like, you know what? I was nice and I was accommodating and I was compassionate and whatever. And it got me nowhere. It was just, they kept pushing and they kept, and it was like, obviously what I need to do is be very clear and give no other options except for, cosmetic options. And if that's uncomfortable for them, that's too bad.
Good for you.
Yeah. It felt really good. It felt good. I can't even tell you.
Yes.
It felt so good.
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh.
Well, we spent so long being the ones who were intimidated because it really was life or death when we were kids. I mean, we were rightfully so intimidated by these bullies that were our parents. And so, like, it is a huge step to then become the person that's like, look, this is what's happening. Because as kids, we learned that was dangerous. It could be physically dangerous, right? You do not stand up to your parent like that, right? Even though they deserved it. So, yeah, super proud of you. Amazing.
Thank you. It's a new era for me.
Yes, I love it. God, I have to say, like, as we are reaching sort of middle age, and I am loving what's happening for the women around us and for us, like, just this ability to not care if people are, again, not, people who are kind, I'm obviously going to be kind to, but if somebody's mean to me, I am no longer being accommodating. Like, sorry, that train left the station already. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about, so I just moved, as I've talked about, to a whole new city where I don't really know anyone. And because I'm a terrible daughter, having friends and relationships are really important for me. That's my found family, right? Like you said, I can't call my mom and just say I'm having a hard time, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's really, really important for me to have relationships and friendships. So I just decided to take things into my own hands, and I decided to put a post up in a local group describing me, like, you know, telling people sort of what I'm interested in, how old I am, like a little bit about me, and just saying if there's anyone like-minded who wants to hang out or be friends or whatever, like, please respond to this post. And I got so many responses that I ended up starting a chat group for all of us. There's over 150 women that are in the group now. I think over 200 people replied. And it's been like all of a sudden sort of this whirlwind that I'm managing this group, but it's been really lovely. I mean, first of all, just to know that there's so many women in similar life positions to me who like are also looking for friendship was just really lovely and heartening. And then also just like I've, you know, been having as many little social dates as I want, lunches with people or, you know, whatever. And I feel like now I have this pool of people that if I'm like, hey, there's this cool exhibit coming to town, does anyone want to come? Like, I'm going to have a ton of people who are like, yeah. And my end goal in this obviously is to make sort of deeper long-term friendships. But that, of course, starts with just meeting people and getting out there. And it was definitely in some ways, like, I don't think I would have been able to do this when I was 25 because it took me deprogramming myself from my mom literally saying nobody likes you, nobody wants to be your friend over and over and over again for years, you know? So I just feel really proud of myself for doing this and proud of myself for following through and proud of myself for knowing how important this was for me to have friendships and have people in my life and actually taking the steps to do it. So it felt like self-care in a way that I probably would have denied myself for years, you know?
Right.
So
I think it's awesome. I think it's really great.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, if you happen to live in Amsterdam and want to hang out, it's the Amsterdam Society of Feral Women, and just email us at the pod and I'll add you to the group.
Oh, feral women. All right. Okay. So please email us. We want to hear your crazy mom stories. I would also love to hear some tools. Like if there's some tools that are getting you through, that would be awesome. You can email us at h2bterrible@gmail.com. That's the letter H, the number 2, the letter B, terrible@gmail.com. We're also on Instagram at Terrible Daughter Pod. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. And we have our Etsy store, which is Heinous Offspring. You can find the link in our link tree. And right
which
now
is on our Instagram, by the way.
Yeah, which is on our Instagram. And right now we have stickers and t-shirts that say, stay sane, stay terrible. One of our listeners used that as a sign off on their letter, always, yours forever or whatever. But she said, stay sane, stay terrible. And I was like, oh my God. And so considering what's going on in the world right now, hopefully when someone hears this, it won't be this way anymore. But the way things are right now when we're recording, we need to stay sane. And I believe that also being terrible is a very important part of being sane.
Good trouble. Yep.
Good trouble. Anyway, so if you are in a crazy world where you just living your life makes you the villain, just get to it and just let it happen. Be the villain.
Thank you for listening. We'd be so grateful if you'd follow or subscribe and rate and review our podcast on your favorite podcast app.
Make sure to share it with friends, family, or anyone that you think may benefit from this content.
And as a final reminder, you are not the crazy one.